Ah, yes, here we are in the Right Now studio. Thank you so much for joining us on the CBS 8 app. That is Karthik Venkatraman. I'm Jake Giriani. Let's jump right into this thing. We got a lot to talk about, Karthik, and the first being the San Diego Padres getting some new information about a possible sale. I was just out at spring training. We heard from control person John Seidler. He had mentioned that the bidding was coming in. They've gotten some really good bids. Well, today we get reports that there are now 5 bids for the San Diego Padres. Really solid bids. I just got off the phone with some spokespeople for the team. They can confirm that there are those 5 bids and that they are solid bids. They can't confirm on their end who they are, but we have heard plenty of reports on who they are from reliable sources, Karthik, the Union Tribune, The Athletic, and we're hearing names like we've heard Dan Friedkin, Jose E. Feliciano, Joe Lacob, but now some new names, some fun names getting thrown in the mix, like one Drew Brees, the former quarterback of the San Diego Chargers. That's pretty exciting stuff, Karthik.
For sure, yeah. He'd be a part of a group, according to
Right.
the reports, that would try and purchase the Padres. Of course, the former San Diego Chargers quarterback drafted in 2001, playing with the team till 2005. So very interesting to see all of these names kind of being tossed around there. Of course, we'd heard the other 3. Now we're hearing that Drew Brees with some partners could potentially jump onto this thing. And who's that 5th person, I guess, is the real question here. So we'll see how that shakes out and if their name moves to the smaller groups and if something like that gets leaked moving forward. But I think the thing that's most interesting about all these guys, they all got money bags, and that's big for the Padres because money is the thing you need to compete with the way that things are currently structured. No salary cap. Can the Padres get one of those guys? And we'll be interested to see if it's a guy with San Diego ties.
Yeah, and I think, look, the money thing is it's just obvious these days. You're spending multi-billion dollars on a franchise. I don't think people are buying these organizations anymore without huge pockets. So I do feel, now that doesn't mean just because you have huge pockets, you're willing to spend all the time, right? We've seen that before where billionaires can be cheap when it comes to sports franchises. But I do think you're going to have somebody with a lot of money purchase the San Diego Padres. From that point forward, it's just like, hey, are you a good owner? Are you willing to pull the right strings? Are you willing to be hands-on at the right times and hands-off at the right times? Are you good at hiring people? Are you good at a brand? All those things that I think the Padre fans want to see in their ownership will be the question, aside from money. Obviously, it will be a bit of a topic. But, yeah, the Drew Brees thing's interesting. It would be with the CEO of the Carlsbad-owned Viore, right? That's the group we're hearing, according to some reports. So I think local, like you mentioned, would be great. Dan Friedkin's from San Diego. Obviously, Drew's got the ties. But we got to let it play out, of course. It's fun to kind of talk about what could be possible for the San Diego Padres. But at this point, that's what we know. That's what we're able to confirm with the franchise, that it is 5 bids. It will move forward into some smaller groups, right? They're going to take the bids that they like and move it into a smaller group. They were unable to give me a perfect timeline, but we have heard things like maybe the end of March, maybe a month into the season. But it seems like this is picking up some steam, Karthik.
Yeah, for sure. With sales, it can be tricky. We'll kind of see the timeline as this thing goes, and who those names are as the smaller group comes. That'll be the thing for the Padres, and when that happens, we'll surely be talking.
There's a lot of moving parts when you're talking about a $2 to $3 billion sale, right? This isn't me walking
Not
down
easy
to the
money.
thrift store.
It's not me trying to buy a Coke in the machine over there.
You're not picking up an album, from the thrift store. This is a couple $1 billion we're talking about. And as Karthik mentioned, once we know more, we will bring you more. But Drew Brees' name mentioned in a possible sale and now confirmed 5 bidders for the San Diego Padres. Let's move to the hardwood. What an exciting week it was for Montezuma Mesa's men's and women's team. I think we had talked for a long time, Karthik, about how important it was for the San Diego State Aztecs to have a statement win. They had 3 huge games coming up. When you talk about Utah State, you talk about New Mexico, you talk about Boise State. They pretty much had to have this game against the Aggies, in my opinion, if you wanted to keep any point of an at-large bid alive. And they went in there and just crushed. I mean, dominated this game against the Aggies, Karthik. This was their complete moment, their best game of the season, in my opinion.
That looked like a team that was pissed off, man.
Exactly.
This looked like a team that said, oh, you want to doubt us? Well, let us show you a little something. And they showed us a lot of something against Utah State, winning by 17 points against a top 25 net ranking team. Where has this San Diego State team been for 2 halves of a basketball game? This is what we've been expecting from the Aztecs all season long. That fiery passion. The defense was active. They were getting at it on offense. Tay Simmons played like a dog. Pharaoh Compton played like a dog. Reese Dixon Waters hadn't shown up for the last couple of games. He played like a dog. I mean, those guys were going out there and balling all over Utah State, making it look like they were the guys that the aggressors. They were packing the punch. This is the San Diego State men's basketball team that I expected to see coming into the season. We weren't even going to be questioning whether this team would be a bubble team because this is what we expected. Granted, they haven't been fully healthy since sometime in January. So this is really them getting back into full force, and that's when this team was really picking it up and playing good basketball. They need more performances like this coming up, though. This is 1/3 of the leg that I think is very important for them, and it's not that I think, I know.
Yeah.
The next game against New Mexico on the road, that's a quad 1 game. I believe that next game after that against Boise State on the road, also a quad 1 game. If you pick up those, your quad 1 record all of a sudden becomes 4-5, and you're looking a lot prettier. Your NET ranking's probably going to go up into the 30s. Beautiful at the time you're trying to get an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament with bid stealers and all that stuff. 40s, you feel kind of unsafe. So San Diego State continues to have to get the job done, but man, if they continue to play like that, Jake, if they continue to play like that, we're going to see them in March Madness.
People love to throw around numbers this time of year. People love to throw out rankings. They love to use quad 1, quad 2. All of this stuff gets thrown around this time of year. The reality of the situation is the Aztecs pretty much just doubled their chances of getting an at-large bid with that win against the Aggies, that dominant win at Viejas Arena. If they want to solidify a shot at the NCAA tournament, you get a win on the road at the Pit. You're almost all but locked in with those two. You get a win on the road at the Pit and a win against Boise. The Aztecs are dancing without a doubt in my mind. And this is a big change, Karthik, from let's say 3-4 days ago when I think their at-large bid was hanging on by a thread. But it's amazing what a massive victory in college basketball can do for a team. And you talk about an NCAA chance for the Aztecs. Let's hear from head coach Brian Dutcher on how big this was for San Diego State.
Well, everybody's piling on after 2-game losing streak. We know what we have in this locker room. We know we're good. We got done a favor by Reno where we still had a chance to play for first tonight instead of being 2 back, trying to get within 1. Their loss at Reno gave us a chance to play for first, and we took advantage of that opportunity. Now we have to seize the day and find a way to win 3 more and win a Mountain West title.
You could describe it as a roller coaster, but I mean, we're just being where our feet are and just trying to look ahead and just knowing that if we win these next 3 games in a row that we can have a big opportunity in front of us.
I tell you what, those dang folks in the media, they're always saying this, they're always saying that. The Aztecs ain't making the NCAA tournament.
Couldn't be us.
Couldn't be us. I most definitely never once mentioned that I thought the Aztecs' chances of making the NCAA tournament were at risk. Obviously, I'm joking. We mentioned it a bunch because they were at risk. They really were, Karthik. And this is a big, big step, but there is work to do.
I will say, last week on this exact same show, I said there's still a path. They just had to get the job done. And hey, once again, this is just the first leg. And Brian Dutcher said it in the game, in the press conference leading up to this game against Utah State. Right now, they're looking us at the outside looking in. But talk to me in a week if we beat Utah State and New Mexico, what they're saying then. All of a sudden, they might be talking about us being in. And that really could be the scenario. Obviously, they might need some help with bubble teams still losing. But you can't pick up any more quality wins than the quad 1 victories. And San Diego State, it couldn't have been queued up any better for them to come down the stretch and pick them up. And then they would still potentially have some chances in the conference tournament depending on neutral and net rankings there, as that would be in Las Vegas, so neutral floor. So it'll be interesting to see. But San Diego State has got to get these next 2. And then, of course, have to avoid some bad losses. Against UNLV at home, I think, would be a quad 3 loss. That's something they don't want. So avoid those as well, but get the job done. Got to keep playing like they did against Utah State.
And one of the reasons they played like they did against the Aggies, without a doubt in my mind and the head coach's mind, is the fact that the show was there and Viejas Arena was popping.
I mean, their home atmosphere is incredible, and I think you would say this home atmosphere is incredible. So when we start rolling, it just multiplies. Same thing when we're in Logan. When that crowd gets into the game and you can feel them and you can hear them, that's a tremendous impact. And we'll have that at the Pit. So all the teams at the top of the league have great home crowds. You know, Reno, Grand Canyon, in Phoenix. I mean, all those are incredible environments, and it's no small wonder those 5 teams are at the top of the standings. They have tremendous home court advantages.
No doubt about it. I mean, shout out to the show. Shout out to everybody that showed up for that game against Utah State. Now, you got to do it on the road, man. And this is a team that hasn't had a lot of big road wins. I was looking back. I think their best road win all season long was at Nevada. Otherwise, you lost at Grand Canyon. You lost at Utah State. Like, you're going to have to go to the Pit now. You're going to have to go to Boise. These are 2 big, tough road tests. So before we get ahead of ourselves saying, hey, you beat Utah State, way to go, you're in the tournament, got to do it on the road, and they have seldom done it this season on the road.
They got to get it done. As I said, I've been saying it for weeks. There's still a path. They kind of fumbled some opportunities, Colorado State, Grand Canyon. They got to get these ones done, and if they do, people will start looking at them in a different light, man.
And the folks that did get it done, the Lady Aztecs, went up to Boise State. They had already won a share of the Mountain West title. They just took care of business against the Broncos. Won by 2, 66-64, up there in Potato Country. Naomi Ponganibon, game high 19 points. They capture the outright Mountain West title. They're 18-1 in conference. Just a dominant season for the Lady Aztecs.
Yeah, set a record for most wins in their program in conference play ever. So, you know, they're crushing it right now. They're playing great. And I'll tell you what, getting the share of the conference title was awesome. Getting the outright title was awesome. But ultimately, at the end of the day now, those are all pride things, because I don't think San Diego State women's basketball probably gets in as an at-large bid, which means now they have to go take care of business in their conference tournament. You know, all of these things are wonderful for San Diego State women's basketball, and it's going to get a lot of people hyped, and it already has gotten a lot of people hyped. But now you got to go back and you got to win the conference tournament title again if you want to go dancing in March like they did last season. And this team's going to have a tough path to do it. I mean, that game against Boise State wasn't easy for them.
Yeah.
UNLV is not going to be an easy win. You just go look at what San Diego State had to go through when they played on the road at UNLV, and you know how crazy that game was. This is going to be a tough test for them. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I mean, if obviously they don't win the NCAA or get into the NCAA tournament by winning their conference tournament, they would be in the lower tournaments that, you know, they would get invited to. But then they wouldn't have a home floor to be able to host, because the NCAA tournament's going to be hosted here in San Diego. So, you know, things could get wacky for this team. So ultimately, at the end of the day, they just need to keep getting the job done, keep getting wins. And unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast for this team, because they're probably not going to get an at-large conference tournament, something they got to get done.
And things have not been overly wacky for SDFC. In fact, they've just kind of been par for the course, man. Keep winning football games. That's all they've done since they've been created, and they continued to do it. SDFC's been so impressive. They extend Tyler Heaps, their sporting director, the architect behind this entire roster and construction of this franchise. They extend Pablo Cisniega. They've already extended Anders Dreyer, Mikey Varas, Bombino. So they've got their core together. And what we saw against Montreal was just impressive stuff. I mean, 5 goals. I know there was a red card at one point, but they just came out and dominated in their MLS 2026 debut. And now it's against St. Louis City, but they're staying at Snapdragon. I don't have enough great things to say about what SDFC does.
Yeah, I think coming into this season, there was a reason to be maybe a little anxious. You're just like, oh, man, what's San Diego FC going to look like?
Sure, how do you follow it up,
such
right?
a wonderful season last year. How do you follow it up? What's that going to look like? And San Diego FC came out and blew the doors off of Montreal. I think they were a 1.5 goal favorite to win that game. Winning by 5, yeah, the red card, but they were still up 2-0 in the first half, going into that second half. And we talked so much about, hey, can Anders Dreyer really keep this up? Yeah, I know he didn't score a goal. All he did was have 2 assists. The front runner, one of the front runners for MVP last year, continuing to find ways to dish the ball, get his team involved. Also set up the Pellegrino goal where, he misses the shot, but Pellegrino able to clean it up because of what Dreyer is able to do in open space. He doesn't get an assist for that, but he continues to be a beast. And then we saw wonderful stories for San Diego FC. Duran Ferree comes into the game as a 19-year-old, gets a clean sheet. Marcus Ingvartsen, who was hurt almost all year last year, gets a goal and an assist in what has kind of been a comeback year for him already. We saw the flashes last season, but look at this guy ball now. And then how about Brian Zambley, the 18-year-old right to dream graduate? Look at that celebration. What do you think that moment means?
4 minutes in to being subbed into his MLS debut, Zambley.
Just turned 18 years old, and he nets one off of an awesome move where he creates space for himself. Not only does the present look bright for San Diego FC, the future future looks bright for San Diego FC. How can you not be hype about this team, man? I don't know. Like, if you're not already hyped, like, I love watching this team play on weekends, and it is absolutely incredible what they've been able to do in such a short time to create so much hype around this club to where they go in, they're going to play, and you know they're going to probably kick butt when they go on the field or be able to compete with the best of them. It's been very impressive, and to come out and play like they did in their first game of the MLS regular season, and also do what they did against Pumas in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. This team hasn't lost a beat. Short training, they move on in the CONCACAF Cup, then come out and blow Montreal off the brakes in their first MLS game. Come on, Jake. Come on, man.
It's funny, this is nothing groundbreaking I'm about to say, but we talk a lot about ownership with what the San Diego Padres are going through and the possible sale. You look at SDFC and you look around the sporting world and you go, great ownership puts teams in great positions. You hire well, you build structures well, you bring in young cores, you bring in veteran cores, and it almost always starts at the top down. It could be a business model, it could be a sporting thing. SDFC's had great ownership from the jump. They've been great. You got to hope that's next for the San Diego Padres as well. Now, you mentioned Marcus Ingvartstein. He actually sat down with our John Howard one-on-one to discuss the 2026 season, the goal he had, and a whole lot more. So here is John with Marcus.
Welcome to the Right to Dream Academy in San Diego. I'm joined now by Mr. Marcus Ingvartsen. Is that the correct pronunciation, Marcus?
That was pretty good, yeah.
Marcus, let's hear about winning the opener on Saturday night.
Complete dominance from San Diego FC.
It was great. Great to be back, playing MLS again and starting at home.
Danish, is that correct?
Yes.
What's the native language in Denmark?
Danish, and yeah, like we have English is our second language. Yeah. 5 goals and a great evening, so yeah. It was a very good start.
And I know you were involved in 2 of them. Let's first of all talk about your assist.
1 second balls for San Diego. Great little flick from Ingvartsen.
I think we have a ball run around the middle and playing quickly forward. A second ball a little bit loose and got the flick for Winnie, and then he took care of everything from there. Nice goal.
Like, how do you say, how are you doing in Danish?
Hvordan går det?
Okay, I won't try that. Now let's talk about your goal.
The technique, the accuracy, and the execution is superb from Marcus Ingvartsen.
Luckily, we got the eye contact. I was spinning around, and so nice to get a goal early in the season.
Oh, he needed it, Ingvartsen. He needed it.
For me personally, been long last season, and then this season coming in with a good start. So yeah, it was an amazing feeling.
How excited are you about this season and the opportunity to contribute more?
Yeah, very. Like, it still feels new. I've been hungering, been sitting on the fan seats for a lot of part of last season, seeing us doing so well and been playing amazing football. So now coming in and contributing to that, it's yeah, it's what I'm here for.
How optimistic are you that this season can be as good as last season, if not better?
I think we have been starting really well, not only the games, but also like the quality of the trainings in the preseason. I think we have the foundation laid out now, and now we can start to go in smaller details and really work on small aspects of the game and hopefully continue growing from here. So it's been looking very, very well, I would say.
Okay, well, Marcus, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you very much to both John and Marcus there. That game against St. Louis City is Sunday, a little after 6:15 kickoff, I believe, from Snapdragon Stadium. You know the Frontera is going to be amazing. You know the crowd's going to be amazing. The product on the field is going to be amazing. We'll see how they play against St. Louis City. Anything else to add, Karthik? Pretty much about anything we've talked about before we get out of here on the CBS 8 app.
I will say St. Louis City gave San Diego FC a little bit of trouble when they came for the MLS home opener last year, their first ever home match. I don't know if people remember. That defense created a little bit of problem for San Diego FC. We'll see what happens this time.
They had a draw in their first match, so we will see as they get ready to roll. We'll also obviously keep you updated on the possible sale of the San Diego Padres as that continues. But thank you so much for joining us, as you do every week here on the CBS 8 app. I am Jake Garriani. That is Karthik Venkatraman, who always gets the last word. Karthik, send him home.
All right, quick goodbye. And how about Manny Machado right here? He hadn't had a hit in spring training against the Reds. 2-run home run, grand slam, 6 RBIs. Good to see from Manny Machado, and I'm sure Padres fans are excited too, Jake.
Bye-bye.